Now, when I first got Netflix, I got it kinda late, so I was expecting most of the shows to be either trash or straight up wash, but damn, Netflix animation so far, and especially this year, has just been peak, and I'm essentially just here to dick ride and talk about it. Firstly, let's talk about a show that's been going crazy right now, the anime known as Dandadan. By the way, I know this is an anime, but again, it's a form of animation that's only being shown on Netflix as of right now, so... For some context, Dandadan is based on the two characters Okarun and Ayase. Okarun believes in aliens and Ayase believes in ghosts and spirits. These two think that their paranormal beliefs can't coexist at the same time, so Okarun goes to a hotspot for paranormal activity of ghosts, while Ayase goes to one of aliens. And it turns out that both aliens and ghosts are real, with Okarun getting possessed by a spirit known as Turbo Granny and Ayase being kidnapped by the aliens. But with the use of plot armor, Ayase ends up unlocking her psychic powers and Okarun ends up with the ability to control the powers of Turbo Granny. They end up saving each other, but then realize Turbo Granny took Okarun's ball, so he has to get them back as soon as possible. So yeah, it's a crazy plot, and mind you, all this happened on the first episode. So, I'm not gonna lie, this show has really had no misses and it's only on its 9th episode as of right now. One of my favorite things about the show is its pacing, as it keeps a very up-tempo pacing while slowing down in moments that can be really tense or serious. Plus the unpredictability of this series keeps viewers enamored with the show, as you really can't be too sure on what's going to happen next. Another thing we gotta applaud the show for is its vibrant art style, as you pay attention to everything while the show is going on, making the fight scenes feel as though you're watching a movie, but also help keep the show very comedic at the same time. Lastly, we gotta talk about the surrealism of this show, as a specific time the surrealism was displayed was in episode 7 when they're finding a spirit known as Acrobatic Silky, as she has an obsession with one of the main character's schoolmates, Shiratori. The reasoning behind her obsession is because back when she was a human, she had a great bond with her daughter, as she was a single mom just trying to make ends meet just to buy her daughter a dress. But on the day of her daughter's birthday, the gang she owed money to ever enter her house and start causing destruction everywhere, and they broke everything and anything in that household, eventually leaving Silky in a pile of glass and taking her daughter away, leaving Acrobatic Silky broken. The trauma and rage brought her back as a vengeful spirit, as one day, while she was roaming around, a young Shiratori had mistaken her as her mother, which leads to the present obsession over her. The surrealistic part of the situation is that Acrobatic Silky is unfortunately not the only woman to go through that, and sadly, won't be the last. And to be honest, I almost shed a tear watching the episode, bro. Next up, we got Netflix's vampiric show Castlevania. Now this show really took over Netflix by storm when it first dropped. With its mature themes and amazing animation, it became a household name on their service. Yeah, I know that I'm pretty late when it comes to talking about it, and there's actually another show that came out after it as a sequel, but hey, I'm just trying to get paid, so y'all watching and y'all gonna like it. But for those who haven't watched the show, Dracula was roaming around the earth in search of learning something new, as by this time he was an overlord and conqueror of everywhere he went, and on his travels he met a human woman named Lisa who made him see humanity in a new way, as humans were known for constantly persecuting vampires. After staying with her for a bit and falling in love, he marries her and they have a child. After having their child, Lisa decides with the information and science that she learned from Dracula that she'll spread her medical knowledge to her fellow humans, and Dracula agrees that that's a good idea as well. Whilst giving out her and spreading her sciences, members of the local church deem her knowledge as witchcraft and burn her at the stake. After finding out about the murder of his wife, our guy Dracula was just straight up infuriated, but due to his wife's final wishes, he warns the humans that he will return in a year to see if they would change their prejudiced ways, and if not, the absolute worst would happen. A year passes by and it turns out that none of the humans actually changed their ways and are actually celebrating the anniversary of Lisa's death. So Dracula is just like, oh hell no, and right then and there, he starts the genocide of all of mankind. Fast forward a couple of months, the show and its main characters are actually Trevor, Sypha, and Dracula and Lisa's son Alucard, who are trying to stop Dracula from exterminating all the humans. Now I know the plot sounds pretty crazy, but the show is just amazing. My favorite part of the show though is its character exploration, as both humans and vampires are feeling the pros and cons of Dracula's wrath. For example, Dracula's son Alucard, who is half human, half vampire, is at a crossroads, with him wanting to join his father's side as he wants to gain revenge for what they did to his mother, which was insanely cruel and unjust, but at the same time adhering to his mother's beliefs that peace between humans and vampires and that they're meant to coexist. Another one of the many characters explored in the show is Trevor Belmont, and he's the last of the Belmont family, a powerful monster hunting family known for their feats in killing many vampires. Due to him being the last one of the clan, he didn't have much and was treated like pretty much ass, but with the invasion of Dracula's forces, he looked up to as a leader now, forcing him to have to take heed in his family name and have his own coming of age moment. Lastly, we have to talk about Dracula himself, as even though he's motivated on wiping out humans, his rage has a lot of repercussions on him and other vampires. An example being that if he's to wipe out all the humans, vampire kind may dwindle, as human blood is the only real tasting / sustained type of blood for them. as they can only go so far living off of animal blood. Because of this, many vampires believe he's gone crazy and wants to usurp his title as the king of the vampires. The other problem with the genocide plan is the self-destruction he's leading himself down, as he's not sure his wife would really want this, and the fear of the humans is the only thing giving him the will to live. Besides the character and themes though, you can see the animation and fight scenes are insane, solidifying the show as just a visual wonder and why you should for sure go watch it. For our last show, we gotta talk about the monumental project that just ended 2 weeks ago, Arcane. But for those who don't know, Arcane is an adult animated show based on the game League of Legends. In the show, there's a lot going on that all intertwine together, with the conflict of the Republic versus the Underground City, the magic known as the Arcane going into overload due to the use of Hextech, and the fact that we have a false messiah proclaiming he can save everyone from their miserable lives. So yeah, it's a lot, but for this video, we're only going to focus on a couple aspects of the show. First, let's start with the main characters, the sisters Vi and Jinx. They are both citizens of the Underground, and they were orphaned by their mother's friend named Vander, who was a rebel back in the day when the Republic was heavily oppressing the Underground City. Living with Vander and 2 other kids he was raising, everything was fine until a venture into the Republic went wrong, resulting in chaos in the Underground and unfortunately killing Vander. His death led the sisters into going 2 different paths, with Jinx joining the man who killed their adopted father and Vi having to fend for herself solo in the streets. Years pass and we see that Jinx has become a very smart inventor but a bit of a drug addict, whilst Vi is in jail. Now, I'm not gonna lie, to really go over the plot will take a lot more time in its own separate video, so I'm not gonna really go over the entire thing, so I'm just gonna speedrun it real quick. Another inventor named Jason and his partner Victor begin to incorporate magic known as the Arcane into a technology called Hextech. He gains a ton of popularity, but Victor ends up in an explosion and is put in a coma with Hextech keeping him alive. While waking up, Victor is no longer crippled, but his revelations while in a coma connected to the Arcane mean and realize humanity is flawed and needs to be interconnected instead of in dysfunction, leading to the current battle going on between both the Underground and Republic versus Victor and his forces. And to be honest, I skipped over quite a bit as a lot of more characters were involved in this, but I think I'll get the gist. Now, character-wise, this is one of the show's many strong suits. Firstly, Jinx is an interesting character in regards to all the trauma she's gone through, with the death of her adopted father and the abandonment she faced by her sister, while also dealing with the death of the father that took her in after Vander's death. She's an emotional roller coaster as she can enter a crazed frenzy of seeking violence while also being a compassionate person. But her antics and free spirit has made her a hero on the Underground, as she's now the symbol that Vander once was. Another character we should touch on is Victor, the false messiah. After being stuck in the Arcane, he truly believes that by removing humanity from humans, he would be doing them justice. And to be fair, considering the prejudice he's gone through for being crippled, bro's opinion isn't really that crazy, because if you were hated your whole life and finally got the power to remove hate from the world, would you not want to do it? Lastly, we got Vi. Due to her guilt of abandoning her sister Jinx, she feels constant pressure to do better in life, and believes she's the reason for all of Jinx's erratic behavior. Also, her love life is very, I'd say, interesting. But anyway, y'all should definitely watch the show. It's a 10 out of 10 recommendation from me. Next up, we got our honorable mentions. So actually, I made another video about the show Super Crooks, about a specific character known as the Praetorian, so like, you know, if you want to help put some food on my table or anything, you should for sure watch it. But anyway, Super Crooks revolves around our guy Johnny Bo, who just got out of jail and is ready to do some more heists with his crew. But his girlfriend tells him that he needs to up his game and aim higher. So they join a former Heist Hall of Famer known as the Heat, and he has a big score for them, robbing the strong supervillain in their world, the Bastard. This show is an insanely fun ride, but at the same time discusses some real topics on corrupt heroes and villains who may actually be humane. And one of the more underlooked factors of the shows is action. And the superpowers these characters have are like insanely OP, like as in DC level OP. And you can tell that Netflix for sure put some extra money towards their budget for fight scenes. Another show that should be mentioned is Netflix's Blood of Zeus. The show is about Heron, a boy whose life was filled with a lot of struggle, but finds out that his father is Zeus, the lightning god. After having his heritage revealed to him, it turns out that he's the chosen one who's meant to stop the incoming return of the Titans. Whilst in the middle of heading to battle, he realizes that his half-brother, who he was never told about, is actually the leader of the Giants. So this causes a lot of internal conflict for Heron. As for one, bro doesn't want to be a hero, it's just something he was forced upon. And secondly, his brother is the reason for all his pain, as during a raid of their village, he ends up killing Heron's mom. So watching Heron battle and overcome the demons of his world and also the world of the gods is pretty interesting. Lastly, this may not fit the typical animation video, but I think it should. We got the show The Midnight Gospel. So this show is about a podcaster / interviewer named Clancy who traverses the different worlds to interview different beings. Now I know this sounds pretty lackluster or boring, but you for sure should watch it, as the visuals are quite a spectacle, and I'm not gonna lie, for all my fellow smokers, I love to watch this while I'm fried. And by the way, anyways, y'all, bro, I'm so grateful for you guys, bro. Like, we really have been going way up there. I really think we ever really would have, for real. And I really think this video might be the one to help me blow up, for real, and, you know, put some food on my table finally. But thank y'all so much, man. Last video got over 1,000 in like only a couple days. Like, I think it's almost at 2K right now, so I appreciate y'all so much. Anyway, so I'll see you on the next one.
She keep asking questions like Family Feud. I can't take it. Shorty bad, I can't have no one basic. Treat the stress like a wood, I'm going